What's up guys? Welcome back to my channel. So for today's video, I am essentially doing the only video that you guys will ever need to watch again. That is an overstatement, but you know, it's a good video, I promise. This has some quality content in it. So I am going to be doing essentially a tutorial on everything that you guys have been asking me to do for the last year, that I haven't done for the last year. So I'm going to be including my brow tutorial, my liner tutorial, my lash application, my highlighting, and the most requested one, I already did a tutorial on my Instagram of how I do my fake freckles, but you guys wanted a more in-depth one, so I did that as well for you guys. So it's a little bit of everything all crammed into one video that I talk way too much in. But I hope that it is useful for you guys. So with that all being said, I will stop blabbing and we can get into the video. Alright, so to start off, I've already got my foundation, powder, contour, bronzer, blush, primer, everything done. I'll just quickly list all the products that I have on my face already. So I think the first thing I'm gonna do is my freckles. So yeah, I already did my little brief one on Instagram of how I do my freckles, but I figured I'd do a little bit more of an in-depth one because a lot of you guys were asking for it. So the first couple things you need are a little dish of some sort. This is just like the lid from something. It looks super gross because I always use the same one. Yeah, so a little dish, a brush with bristles, coarse bristles on it. You can use this or a spoolie, anything like that works. I just had this one, so I don't use it, so I mean I do now, but I didn't before. So you need these two, and then I use this concealer. So when you're doing them, you have to gauge sort of what color your natural freckles are. I do have natural, I mean, if you don't have them, then you just kind of gotta figure out what doesn't look weird on your face. But I personally do have natural freckles, and they're actually quite red tone, I have very warm tone freckles. So I try to keep mine very warm toned. I do like to make them a little bit darker than my natural ones so that they actually show up. But yeah, so the base of mine is this Smashbox High Definition Concealer in the shade Dark. I'm pretty sure they've discontinued this specific line of concealers, but really any sort of dark, warm toned, liquid makeup will work. It doesn't even have to be liquid, if you have a pomade or something. But yeah, so grab a dark, warm toned, just sort of liquid makeup of any sort if you've got a foundation or something. Yeah. So this I find can still be a little bit light on me. If I want my freckles to look more intense, I will take my Anastasia Beverly Hills Dip Brow in Ebony. I have this, it's a newer one that I have, so it's a little bit squishier. And I just scoop a little bit out and mix it in with the concealer. So I already have some kind of in here that I mixed up yesterday. So it looks like there's basically nothing here. But once you activate it with the alcohol, which I have in a little spray bottle, it's actually a lot more than you think that it would be. And it's all kind of just about saturation, right? So the more liquid that you're adding to it, the less pigment is going to show up, right? So I'm going to add a little bit more to this just so that the camera will pick it up a little bit darker on my face. Because if I were just doing this on a day-to-day, which I am, I'm going to work after this, so I mean I guess I can deal with slightly darker freckles than usual, but if I know that I'm going to be taking a picture of them for Instagram or something, I do them a lot darker than I would on a daily basis. But yeah, so I'm just going to mix up a little bit more in here so you guys can see. I'm almost out of this concealer, so I have to find something else. Okay, so as you guys can see, I only took a teeny tiny amount of the Dip Brow compared to the lighter foundation product. So yeah, you don't want it too dark, because if it's too dark or too cool toned, it's going to end up looking like you just have dirt splattered on your face, which isn't very cute. So I'm going to take this, and honestly I might even have too much product here, but you know, just make it work. That's why it's nice to have a little bit of a larger tray so you can mix it and kind of not include some of the product if you don't want to, and use it the next time you mix it up. But yeah, so I'm just going to go ahead and saturate this pretty thoroughly because there is a decent amount of product. I also like to kind of spray the brush while I'm at it because there's like a lot of product that gets like trapped in the bristles as well. So do that. And then you just mix it up real nice. Okay, so that's like, I don't know if you guys can see that. I don't want to all pour it. That's the consistency that I've got. It's like basically liquid. And yeah, so you just want to kind of make sure to get like both sides of your brush properly dipped in it. And then you kind of hold it like a little claw, and you're basically just pulling back with your thumb to do the little spray. I usually start kind of across my nose because that's kind of like the safest spot. If they get too dark, that's like where they would naturally be darker usually, so it's not as like bad. I don't know. Okay, so see, that's the first couple little swipes. You guys can see those. Those are coming out a pretty good color. And then see, okay, so this spot is still kind of wet and it's a little bit dark and I don't quite like that shape, so you can just kind of pat it while it's still wet. And that one too came out a little bit dark. So just dab on any of the ones that you think are a little bit too heavy. And yeah, I do it kind of in like a W shape, so down the sides of my temples, across my nose, up the bridge of my nose, and then back up the other side of my temple. Obviously, you guys can do them wherever you see fit, but I know that's where I naturally get my freckles. So that's where I put them. And yeah, make sure your eyes are closed while you're doing this because it burns like crazy if you get the alcohol in your eye. Only for like a very brief second, but it's not pleasant regardless. So I kind of use the freckles to emphasize some of the contours of my face as well. So like the way that I do my nose, I like having a really defined like contour in the inner corners of like where my brows meet my nose. So I kind of emphasize the freckles a little bit darker there, so it creates the illusion of it there being more depth there. The same thing, I do it quite heavy, like just across this little bridge of my nose here, where you like, as a contour, you kind of want like a little dip there, or like I personally want like a little dip there basically. So I emphasize mine across there. Again, it's totally up to you, the placement that you put them, how dark you want them, how light you want them. You have to just kind of play around with it. You're not going to get it perfect the first try. But yeah, that is pretty much it for the freckles. I hope this was useful. Okay, so from here, I am going to go ahead and do my eyebrows because you guys never see me do my eyebrows either. So I have two dip brows. They're both the same shade. One is in a lot better condition than the other. I do not like brand new dip brows. I find them so hard to work with. They're so, like, I like this color, but only once it's dried down. When it's brand new, it's just like so dark and ends up just making my eyebrows basically look black. Which is not a look. So I have this one, which looks horrible, and it is like basically a wax at this point. It is so old and dry. And then I have this one, which is newer. It looks kind of messy because I use it to do my freckles as well. Also, I like left it open for like a week on my desk, so it would be a better consistency. But yeah, so to fill the majority of my brows, I use my older one because it comes out a little bit lighter and it's easier to work with. So I'm gonna go ahead and do that. This is the, I have two different sizes. I think this is their number 12 brush, and then this is their number 14 brush. The 14 is a little bit like skinnier and longer. And I just use that one for kind of filling in like the tails of my brows or doing like a really like fine like hair strokes. But as far as filling in the bulk of my brows, I just go quite lightly with this one. Because I don't actually need like that much fullness through the center of my brows. It's mostly just like the inner corners and like the tails of my brows. I can use a pretty minimal amount of product through the center of them. So I'm just gonna take this. Okay. So I usually start by kind of lining the doing the underline of my eyebrow first, because I do have a little bit of sparseness in through here. I like to get a good clean line on the bottom. But yeah, as you guys can see, there's like very little product coming off of this, which is like perfect. I love that. It looks so much more natural. And I don't even do like hair strokes specifically or anything. Like I just go through and get any patches filled and get that bottom line defined. I like to lengthen my eyebrows quite a bit when I do them. I find they don't take up enough space on my face as they are, so yeah, I bring them out a little bit further. Especially because I do my eye makeup so big, it looks disproportionate if my eyes are enormous and I have no eyebrows. So I'm not super precise when I'm going through with the actual brow product because I go in and clean it up with concealer afterwards. So yeah, don't worry too much about it being like perfectly clean the first go. And then I just like to kind of build my arch a little bit more because my eyebrows just kind of slump down at the outer corners. So yeah, I just build that up a little bit. Okay, so then for the inner corner, sorry for to kind of like walk you guys through this part. For the inner corner, I like to square it off a little bit because like I don't know if you guys can tell, but this, my natural brow just kind of like goes off in an angle. I like it to be more like parallel with my nose. And that's kind of how I gauge how far in to bring my eyebrows as well. Like my brows do come in quite far, but it's just quite sparse to there. So I like to basically just line it up with the side of my nose as to where I'm gonna start it. So that's exactly where. And yeah, I just really lightly brush through and square that off. And then I go back in and do some little hair details with the other dip brow afterwards. But just get this done first. Okay, so I know this kind of just looks like a disaster at the end here, but I'm actually just gonna leave it like that for now. I'm gonna go ahead and get my other brow caught up to this point, and then I will continue with the next steps. So BRB with another eyebrow. Okay, so I have the other one about the same as where I have the first one. So the next step here is to just go in with some concealer and clean up the edges. I just have this little concealer brush from Glow, and then I take my Tarte Maracuja Creaseless Concealer. This one is in the shade Fair. But yeah, so I just pick up a little bit of product and I go ahead and clean up underneath the arch of my brow. Usually like the inner corner of my brow doesn't need too much, it's always just like the tail end because I just get messy with that. And yeah, I'm using like very minimal product. Like there's basically no concealer on my brush right now. I'll use like a little bit, but most of it ends up just being like that I'm essentially just wiping away product with this just to clean it up. Alright, and I'm gonna go ahead and do the same thing on my other brow. Alright, so with that all cleaned up with the concealer, now is when I go in with my smaller number 14 brush and my like newer, cleaner dip brow, and just take like a very little amount of product and go in just to define that like very tip of the tail a little bit more. And then if I want to add any little like hair strokes in the inner corner, I can. But yeah, and anytime I'm brushing my brows, I brush them up and then out. And then I like tidy them down from the top as need be. So yeah, there's not really like too much to touch up. I'm just gonna do this tail a little bit. Okay, so that is pretty much it as far as filling in my brows. So this next step is kind of a weird one, and I feel like some of you guys are gonna get a little cranky about it. But so I went back to the Yukon for Christmas and I brought this hairspray with me, and for some reason, and I'm pretty sure you're like really not supposed to bring aerosols on the plane, but I did. I checked it on, don't worry. But it just like messed up the pressure in it. I don't know if you guys can hear that, but it just like doesn't actually spray now. So it just kind of like dribbles out the end of it. So I have this little ratty spoolie that the end kind of always falls off. Now it doesn't because it's coated in hairspray. But basically, I just take this little spoolie and I dribble some hairspray on there. And it's dripping. And I use that instead of brow gel. I will use brow gel sometimes, but like this just holds the hair in place so well. But yeah, so I just brush that through. So with the hair all nicely laid in place now, sometimes I find the hairspray can like make the hairs a little bit lighter. So I go in with my Benefit Gimme Brow in shade number 5, and I just do like a quick little brush through with that. I don't find that it holds the hair in place too well, so I don't use it like as on its own, but just to tint the hairs a little bit. It's really good. Okay, so that is my completed brow routine. That is all I do. Actually, all I do. I say that like I did nothing. That was like 20 minutes. So the third and kind of final thing that you guys have requested for me to do so many times is a proper eyeliner tutorial. As of recently, I haven't really been doing like my winged eyeliner on a daily basis. I haven't been doing it. But I still do it for a lot of my Instagram photos and everything, and you guys always request to see that tutorial, so I'm gonna do it. So my holy grail of eyeliner products is my NYX matte liquid liner in black. I don't like the vinyl one because it does reflect, and then I feel like it kind of takes away from the intensity of it a little bit. This one is like the truest, blackest black eyeliner that I have ever found, so this is what I use, and the brush is nice and small so you can get a good sharp line with it. But yeah, so I really have no sort of specific technique when I'm doing my eyeliner. I right now feel like starting in the inner corner, so I'm gonna do that. Alright, so for the, as far as the like width that I want it across my actual lash line, I basically do it just like a little bit thicker than one brush stroke. So I just go through and do like one smooth brush stroke and then take it up a tiny bit higher and go through with that. Alright, so from here you're gonna draw a line from the outer corner of your eye up towards the tail of your eyebrow. I always like to make sure to bring my eyeliner, like the liquid liner, down low enough that it lines up with my lower lash line as well. So you don't have like that gap in the corner of your eye. I find it helps a lot when you're applying your falsies as well. You can't see them as much, and it just gives a better, like a fuller sort of look. So I'm gonna do that. So taking it directly, I don't know if you guys can see this angle, there's literally a line directly from my lower lash line straight to the tail end of my brow. So I'm gonna just place a line there and take it up as high as I see fit, which is usually pretty high. Okay, we're gonna leave it there for now so it doesn't get out of control. And then this part, like from here, it's pretty much just however you feel like filling in the rest of it. I just go and line it up with the top of the previous line that I made and just attach it to the end of the wing and then fill it in. Okay, that is it. There's the wing. I'm sorry, I know that framing was really weird, but I was trying to get close to my mirror and then whatever, but it works. You guys can see what I was doing, I think. So yeah, that's pretty much all I do. I do a little bit of a curve to my wing, but I don't do it too much. A lot of people, the mistake that they make is they follow the natural contour of your eye. If you do that, it creates the illusion that your eyes are more hooded than they actually are by doing that natural curl. And then it may look good when you're looking down and doing it, but the second you look up, your eyeliner is like a full S shape. So be sure to cut across the angles of your eye more than you think that you need to, if that made any sense whatsoever. But yeah, there is my wing, and I'm gonna do the other one and then I'll be right back. Alright, so I've got my other wing done. I also went in and actually just kind of arched this liner along my lash line on my right eye a little bit more than the other one. It's hard to tell when I only have the one liner on, but I actually have like a little bit of a lazy eye on my right eye. I had a surgery on my eyelid when I was in like the 8th grade or something, so now this eye doesn't open quite as wide as my left eye does. I'm gonna say like 99% chance that like nobody else even notices it, but like I'm super aware of it. So what I do is make this eyeliner just like a tiny bit thicker than the other one, and it evens it out. So that's where we're at. That is my completed liner. Alright, so from here, I already curled my eyelashes before this video, so I'm just going to go ahead and apply some mascara, but first I'm just going to line under my eyes with this chisel shade from the Tarte palette again. I don't know what brush I'm using. Oh. So I'm going to take this KoKo shader brush. It's just this little, kind of flat, oh, it has a fluff. This little flat brush, and just take that shade under my eyes. I used to always do black liner like under my eyes, and I still will a tiny bit in the outer corner sometimes, but I've been watching a lot of Kelsey Simone's videos lately, and she always does just like a light brown shade on her lower lash line instead of an eyeliner, and I just think it looks so nice on her, and it just looks more natural but still gives you that fullness of your lash line. So yeah, that's what I've been doing lately. Okay, so with that done, I'm gonna go ahead and apply some mascara. I'm gonna be using my Wonder 2 Cosmetics Wonder Extensions Lash Extension and Volumizing Mascara. I'm gonna apply that and then I will be right back. Alright, so I've got my mascara on. I'm actually just gonna go in. So as I said, sometimes I'll do a little bit of black in the outer corner, which I'm going to in this instance. I'm gonna take my Tarte lip palette from Tarte, and just this black shade Fashionista, as well as this Luxie 221 flat definer brush, and I'm literally just gonna put the black like in the very outer corner of my eye, just to smooth the transition between my eyeliner and the just brown eyeshadow that I have on the bottom lashes, just so I don't have a weird gap in the corner. Alright, that's it. I'm gonna go ahead and apply some lashes. I'm gonna be wearing my KoKo lashes in Venus. I'll actually show you guys how I put them on this time, because I'm just on a roll of showing you guys all my tips and tricks right now. There's really not much to it. Sorry, I'm just taking the glue off of them. Kind of the only tips that I have are always line it up as far to the outer corner as you can so it doesn't make your eyes water in the inner corner. And then when you're applying them, always just look down, don't close your eyes. The same thing goes when you're doing that on clients. Because when the eye is closed, the skin kind of like wrinkles up, I don't know. But it isn't like as stretched out as when your eyes are open, so then when you open your eyes, the lash or the lid like stretches out again, and it'll kind of pull the lash off sometimes. But yeah, so look down and line it up with the outer corner of your eye the best that you can. I'm just gonna be using my Duo. This is the tinted like dark one. Just blow on it, leave it for a couple seconds, and go ahead and apply it. So I always make sure to really press it down well in the inner corner, because I find that's always the first spot that my lashes will lift on me. So yeah, I just hold that down a little bit longer than the rest of it. Yeah, just get it as close to your natural lashes as you can. But ta-da, there's my lash. I'll put the other one on, and then I just go in and to hide the band a little bit, like the dark Duo glue does help, but it still has like that little bit of shininess to it. So to hide the band, I just go in with that same little Luxie flat definer brush that I used for the outer corner of my eye, and some matte black eyeshadow, and just go over the band of the eyelashes afterwards just to get rid of that little shine. Right, so I've got my other lash on. I'm gonna go ahead and fill that band. Alright, that's all done. Basically, the last step of this makeup is just some highlighter. So this is also kind of like the final step of my nose contour, is that I just take this little flat eyeshadow brush right here, and the Tarte palette again, a mix of Gleam and Burst, and I just do a straight line down the middle of my nose. And then I do kind of like a little, somewhere between a little upside down T and a exclamation point. So I then just do a little boop on the end of my nose. Normally I would have done this little part before I did my eyeliner, but I forgot. So just taking the eyeshadow or the highlighter, I'm gonna go in the inner corners of my eyes and then take it up onto the lid a little bit as well. And then I'm just gonna do my brow bones. And then switching over to my Luxie 522 tapered highlighter brush, I'm gonna do my Cupid's bow and my cheekbones. Ta-da! That is the final look, all completed. Alright guys, that is it for today's video. I hope you enjoyed it and I hope you can put some of these little tips and tricks to use. Obviously they're not going to work for everyone, and you're going to have to adjust them and make them adapt to your face specifically, but these are just the things that I do and these are the things that you guys requested to see. So here they are. Enjoy. Alright. I hope you guys liked this. Again, if you did, leave it a big thumbs up and don't forget to subscribe to my channel, and that is pretty much all. So I will see you in my next video. Love you. And yeah, you guys, fuck. These thing, oh, what the, obviously, what? With the, oh, eyeliner tutorial. Tutorial.